This video is about my attempts at using Visual Studio Code as an alternative to Visual Studio and creating and running a MonoGame project. So I've just loaded Visual Studio Code and it's prompted me that I was out of date, and I've just updated to the latest version, which you can see is March 2021 version 1.55. In the process though, it also asked me to update my Git, and this is what I'm doing now. So it's taken me to the Git website, which is here. I'm now going to download and install Git, or update Git, because obviously it's already installed. So I'm downloading it for Windows. Putting it into my downloads, and now I'm opening it. So we're now installing Git. I'm just going to take the default settings. I don't know what all these mean. Bash window. No idea what that means. I'll go without that. So this is Git 2.3.2.31.1. Okay, I don't need to launch Git bash, which is the command line interface for Git. I don't think I want to view the release notes either. So that's Git updated. Okay, now you'll see it has, Visual Studio Code has a terminal window, which I've clicked on, and I've opened the terminal window down here. But it is possible to maximize this terminal window. And providing you've got the .NET SDK installed, which you will have done if you've installed it in Visual Studio, you can call on .NET and ask it to list all the help, ask for help on .NET. And that should then list you all the options. One of which is to list all the templates you have already got available. Because one of the things you can't do with Visual Studio Code is to create a new project, unfortunately. It's really a text editor, and you've got to use the command line to do anything more sophisticated, like creating solutions or projects. So we can ask .NET to list all the templates. And you can see these are all the projects that you can create and use in .NET, which at the moment doesn't include MonoGame. Okay, so I've gone to the MonoGame website. I've gone into Getting Started and Documentation, Environment, Windows, and right down the bottom here you can see if I want to have the MonoGame templates available for Rider, for example, and I'm hoping for Visual Studio Code as well, you can install the templates. So I'm going to try that in Visual Studio Code, or in the terminal window. Yes, and now we can see, look, there's MonoGame in the templates. So I've now got the MonoGame templates available. So the one I want for Windows is I could have a Windows DirectX version, that's there, or the Universal. That's the one I used for my... Right, which one do I want? No, the OpenGL was the one I was using. So I'm going to try the OpenGL one. There are others I could try. So that's the one I'm going to try. So back to the terminal prompt then. I'm going to do .NET new and then the name of the template. .NET new template name. Not sure where it's going to put this. Oh, and where on earth has it put it? Didn't ask for a file name or a project name, did it? I'm in my user area at the moment, which is not really where I wanted it. Looking at this help again, I realised that this help is just for the .NET new command. And one of the things I didn't notice was a name. There's a name for the output to be created using the -n symbol. And also it's going to be created where I currently am. So if I go back to here, you'll see I was in the users Derek area, which is not where I wanted to be. So what I've done is I've changed directory to d:// so I'm on drive D. I've changed myself to my Bucks folder and my repos folder. So I'm in my Bucks repos folder now. I'm going to try this, create this project again. Don't know, yes, we can get previous commands back like this. So it's the -n, and I want to name. I want a name for my application. So I've got to be careful here. I want something completely different because I've got various versions of MonoGame in that folder. So let's try. If I precede it by VSC for Visual Studio Code, App05. That might do me. That's something completely different. VSC for Visual Studio Code, App05. I'm in my Bucks repo folder. Let's have a look. How's that worked? Drive D, Bucks, repos, and there we go. Yes, we have a VSC app5 folder there. If I double click on that, inside of which it looks much the same as it did. Yeah, there's an empty MonoGame project there. Okay, so I've moved into this folder now. I've said repos cd VSC App05, so I'm now in the VSC App05 folder. I'm now going to try and run the application. Yep, there we go. There's MonoGame running in Visual Studio Code. Okay, Visual Studio Code does not understand what a Visual Studio project or a Visual Studio solution is. It is just a file editor. So yes, you can, if you look at the file, you can open a file or a folder or a workspace, but you can't open a project or a solution. So typically you'll be opening the folder. So I'm going to go to where my drive D, bucks, repos, there's the folder I want to open. So I select that folder. And now you can see I have what looks similar to what you see in the Solution Explorer in Visual Studio, except that the project file is visible. And you can look inside it and see it is just XML. Yeah, one of the things I was checking was the version we've got of MonoGame, which is in the Visual Studio project file, which shows that we are using 3.8.0. Okay, and we're also using the .NET Core 3.1 framework. The next thing you need to be sure of is that you just noticed a new notification down this bottom right hand corner, which I understand. Required assets to build and debug are missing from VSC of App05. Do I want to add them? Yes, so it needs this C# extension. I was just going to check that. So let's add that. We need to be in C#. The extensions are here. I thought I didn't need it because I have already got C# extension installed. There it is. So there's a whole load of extensions you can install for Visual Studio Code, and this is obviously the one you must have is C#. I was also interested to see if I type in MonoGame that there is a MonoGame pipeline extension here, which I think we may need as well. I haven't tried that yet. So let's go back to our files and folders for the moment, and let's open our program.cs. I'm just going to check, yes, I have got the color syntax highlighting. If we look at game 1, yes, it looks fine. Don't know whether we can just, there's a run symbol here, can we just click on that and run it? Yes, I think we can, because I think it's run the command line prompt. Is it? No, it hasn't. We have to use the run, the command line prompt, .NET run. Shame. Read. Let's move on then. I think what I'm going to do now is see if I can open an existing project. So again, it's just going to be an open folder. Let me try the App05 template, which is obviously what you want to start with. Now you see this is a solution, and there is the contents. Yes, I'm in the App05 template, so if I do .NET run, will it run it? Right. Doesn't run. Okay, yes, I have now gone and done File, Open Folder, and I've moved from the solution into the Space Shooter folder, the project folder. That's the project folder. So I've selected that. So my open folder is the project folder, not the solution folder. And if I do .NET run with that, this isn't the standard template. I don't know where this has come from actually, but you'll see when it runs it's not the standard template, but it is a space shooter game running. Okay, just to try out the C# part, let me just see if I start typing something in. Yes, we do get the prompt. When we put a dot in, it doesn't give us our options. You have to do Control Space to get the options. Okay, so let's suppose I choose that. Now, okay, I don't know what that does actually. Let's pretend I make made a simple compilation error there. You can see it does prompt you, but there's no build to check that thing. So the only way you're going to find out if you put a compilation error, if you don't see it like that, is when you try to run it. Then it tells you you've got a build error. Yep, okay. So you have got some support there for your coding. Okay, I'm just having a look at the content pipeline, the content.mgcv, the MonoGame content builder, and clicking on it is just a file with text in it. That's not going to run. So I'm going to go back to these extensions, type in MonoGame, and find this MonoGame pipeline, which looks promising. So let's install that. Okay, that's installed. Not quite sure how we use it. Right click on any. Right. So let's have a look at our files again. Right click on here. No, that didn't work. What we have to do is just use the Windows Explorer. I'm looking at the content folder. Here is the content pipeline system. Here's where I right click on that and open with MGCV editor. That brings up the MonoGame content builder, and you can see there's all the actors, and I can add to the folder, I can add an existing item. I'll just try opening that one and building. Okay, so we're doing that outside of Visual Studio. So we go back into Visual Studio. We should be able to see it in the file system now. Under Actors. There it is, there's the random planetoids I've just added. Let's just check the whole thing still works. Go back to the game class. Okay, we're up and running again. Okay, so I'm hoping that is enough to show you how to switch from Visual Studio to Visual Studio Code. And we can use the content pipeline outside of Visual Studio. We have to run the thing using the terminal window and command line prompts. We have to add projects that way and open projects that way. Well, we don't open projects, we open folders.